I had so much hope in Uzuki. Really, 2 reworks in one single update, on time, looking this good. I was really excited to see Uzu finally getting something right for once. Of course not. Bugs are everywhere, moves don't work, and some moves work so well that they simply grant you free one-shot combos with just about half the stands in the game. With that, I'd say to stop holding your breath, Joes. As we all expected, yet none of us hoped, YBA did not rise above its new low and surge forth like a phoenix. No. YBA has gone the way of the dodo. As I speak to you right now, Uzu's probably sitting on the balcony of his 30th floor penthouse he bought from the suffering of the masses, looking down at the chaos that's happening now with YBA becoming a complete hellscape of bleed stacking and one-shot combos and thinking to himself, oh, what a jolly, jolly Christmas. Let's just say, Uzu's New Year's resolution won't be to patch or balance any of this in a timely manner. Say what? In the Christmas spirit, I'll be rolling a shiny at the beginning of every video and giving it away in my Discord server, linked down in the description below. Let's see what I rolled today. For a chance at getting it, join the Discord server, link below, verify, and enter the giveaway in the giveaways channel. And to make sure you never miss a giveaway, subscribe down below and make sure you ring the bell while you're at it. I heard it increases your chances tenfold. Good luck! So, not only did the Spin rework come out, as promised, by December, not only did we get boxing right alongside it for the first double moveset update since the Heaven update, but also, when boxing came out with a silly amount of bugs and urgent balance issues to attend to, we got them the same exact day. Doggy! I've gotten a hell of a ton of requests asking me to rant about how bad the update is, but honestly, I've got 0 complaints. I mean, sure, to get nitpicky about it, the Spin rework is entirely just made-up moves having nothing to do with the source material, and sure, the Spin rework is boring as hell to play. But besides that, this is the best I've eaten as a YBA Joe since V1.0. I had my reservations about the boxing rework, boxing being my favorite spec. I felt like they were gonna fucking butcher it like they did to Pluck. I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. In general, boxing is just all around a wonderful spec to mess around with. Its mechanics are by far some of the cleverest and the most creative in the game. From boxing shuffle and its quirks with the other moves to the fleet footwork bar that you can choose either to improve your move speed or to completely fucking decimate anybody in your way. And I gotta say, with its help, I've been having the most genuine fun playing YBA in fucking ages. You're gonna die.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah?
Of course, I forgot that thing.
Here's the thing. Seems like a lot of Joes are having a little more trouble picking up the rework spec themselves. From basically only 2 moves you'd ever use to 5 and a passive bar, it's no surprise why. So I thought, with the passing of Eclipse and how he used to do these sorts of things when the update came out, maybe I should come in and fill the void in content for a bit and do my own sort of guide about the boxing rework. Because we all know, of course, that I'm beyond qualified to be giving instruction on this game I play all too well.
What goes around comes around?
You need help.
No.
Ozzy, I can't tell if you're...
Boxing Shuffle is basically the foundation of this entire spec, so let's start with that. It propels you forward about as much as a dash would, except it goes in the direction of your camera. And secondly, while it doesn't give iframes like dash does, it's compatible with every other move in your boxing moveset. That means you can jawbreak in the middle of Boxing Shuffle for a decisive blow without too much punishable startup, or you can Boxing Shuffle in the middle of Knuckle Sandwich if you realize your opponent is already escaping. It can be really useful when used right, but to be honest, it takes a lot of getting used to. Next up is Knuckle Sandwich, the bread and butter of boxing. 2 left punches into a right hook, 3 hits of 6.7. Blockable, but only if you block the first hit. If you get hit by the first punch, you can't block the next 2 punches. And anyways, it's pretty hard to see this one coming, so I wouldn't rely on blocking it. Not too much stun, but no end lag either, and especially not a lot of cooldown or windup. Just something you throw out willy-nilly in the middle of combos, not anything to make a big fuss about saving up or using strategically. But be careful not to use it too much, because more often than not it'll give your opponent a chance to escape your combo by either easily cancelling it with an M1 or blocking your next move after it with how low the stun is. You can't confirm anything off of it, so just be careful. Moving on, we have Liver Shot, a 15 damage medium wind-up bleed-inducing punch. They nerfed it, so now the bleed only does about 10 more damage, but that's still a 25 damage move with only about a 12-second cooldown. Decently easy to block, gives you about 3/4 of a second to react. Little to no end lag and decent stun. You can confirm an extra M1 off of this, or, better yet, Knuckle Sandwich. Should be noted, though I do see it a lot, it doesn't work the other way around. You can't confirm Knuckle Sandwich into Liver Shot, they're able to block in between. So usually you'd be better off going with Liver Shot first. Of course, blocking is completely useless if you hit him with a Jawbreaker. Not blockable, and thank God no longer parryable, don't know whose genius idea that was. Still, it's a big nerf from what it used to be. Now it has a whole 20 seconds of cooldown, a little longer windup, and now it's a lot easier to cancel. That means you can't just throw it out anytime anymore, because if they happen to do an M1 or any other move, you're just wasted your only true block break for the next 20 seconds. Well, your only true block break besides, of course, Haymaker. Haymaker is an incredibly powerful, versatile move. Basically your best move in your entire moveset. At full charge, it'll do a whopping, bone-breaking 50 damage. And that's not even the best part. It'll also give you a temporary shield of 75 health points. That means, if timed correctly, you could tank an entire 60 damage erasure and then send them to fucking Narnia before they even have the chance to hit you with the second one. That is 136 damage avoided entirely with the press of a button. It is an absolute menace. Unless your opponent is skilled as hell or you're just fucking stupid, you will hit this move. Just like KCR's Dimension Slash, you can move its trajectory in the middle of its fairly long windup, which means even if they dash or boxing shuffle behind you, all you have to do is turn around. And their only option is to dodge, because this move is completely and totally non-cancelable. All around, great for just about anything, from avoiding high damage combos to finishing opponents to breaking their blocks if need be. But of course, like every move, it comes with its cons. Firstly, even if you use it to avoid erasure like I said earlier, you'll still lose a limb. Any status effects that you tank with your shield will still apply to you, meaning you'll still get fat after a reality overwrite punch, you'll still lose a limb after dimensional slash, and you'll still get a nice water break after a tusk beatdown. Secondly, it has a massive cooldown. We're talking 45 whole seconds, almost as much as a fucking time stop. And finally, it takes away all of your Fleet Footwork bar. Fleet Footwork is a passive bar that gets higher every time you land a boxing move or use a dash or boxing shuffle. Once it's full, it takes a full minute to get back to 0, making this the slowest passively depleting bar in the entire game. On the other hand, it takes only about 20 to 30 seconds of combat to charge up without even noticing, as long as you're just spamming shuffle and dash like I do. Some people just assume all this bar does is charge up your Haymaker, but that's only partly true because it also gives you a pretty good speed buff across all of your boxing moves. For comparison, these are my moves at 0 charge, and these are my moves at full charge. Yeah. You're gonna want to keep this at full charge as long as possible, and that means consistently using dash and shuffle, consistently using your boxing move, and especially conserving your Haymaker. Finally, there's a few other passive buffs. Dash Mastery lets you dash farther, but in my experience I don't even notice the difference and it seems like a waste of points. And of course, the classic boxing passive we all know and love, Tough Skin. When I first played the rework boxing, it seems like they had nerfed Tough Skin, but after some testing I found that, nah, it's the same as it was pre-rework. About a 25% damage reduction when maxed out, meaning you get about 67 more health than a regular player. And with that, we've covered everything there is to the moveset, so let's get into strategies. So you know how pre-rework boxing was the best spec in the game for 2 years on end? Yeah, some things just never change. Boxing is, hands down, still the best spec in the game at the moment. It is the most versatile spec out there. You can use it with practically any stand within reason. I said within reason, and make it an excellent build. But where boxing really shines are stands with high damage outputs, basically any stand with a barrage dealing 1.3 damage or higher besides D4C Love Train. TWU, Star Platinum, Crazy Diamond, King Crimson, Golden Experience, Anubis, Stone Free, Tuskek 4, Sea Moon, Maiden Heaven, The World of Heaven, Star Platinum The World, and King Crimson Requiem all go great with this spec. As for how to use it, well, let me show you how I've learned to do it. As I mentioned before, you're going to want to keep your fleet footwork up as high as you can at all times. This will make everything easier to land and harder for your opponent to react to. That means abusing the hell out of shuffle and dash, basically running circles around your opponent, making sure you're never in the same place for more than a second. Pairing this up with time skip makes it excellent for mobility. You've got 3 low cooldown mobility moves that make you about as easy to kill as a mosquito with your bare hands. Of course, you'll want to keep in mind that sometimes you're going to actually need those moves to escape certain things, or in the case of shuffle, to extend a move hitbox and guarantee a hit, so don't go abusing them too much. As for what to do after your bar is charged to max, you've got plenty of options. Paired with the fast, high-damage M1s with the higher destructive power stands I recommended, these moves do a fuck ton of damage to your opponent in an incredibly short amount of time. Though, I can't stress this enough, always use your stands M1s. I've seen a few people trying to use their boxing M1s instead because they're quote-unquote higher speed. No. I've done a lot of testing and can say, conclusively, stand M1s for stands with high destructive power come out at the same speed as max fleet footwork boxing M1s, but with higher damage. Of course, if you're using something like Whitesnake or the Hand, that changes things, but most of the time you're going to need to learn how to switch between having your boxing gloves out for boxing moves and taking them off for stand M1s. I like to keep them in my number 1 slot in my inventory and clear out the rest of my hotbar. That way I can just press 1 on my keyboard anytime I need them, and I don't have to worry about accidentally grazing my 2 key and trying to jawbreaker somebody with the fucking green baby. I wouldn't stress about memorizing any one combo in particular. The beauty of boxing is that you can just make up combos as you go. Any mixtures of M1s, liver shots, knuckle sandwiches, and whatever other combo extenders you have in your kit like chops, knives, starfinger, inhale, yo Angelo, etc. will do wonderfully in the midst of combat. Just keep on spamming all of those, staying mobile and away from where they can hit you at all times, but pressuring them at the same time. If they start to get smart with you and block your moves, you've got Jawbreaker, Haymaker, and any of your other block breaking moves to pounce on them with. Essentially, any high-damage boxing build is going to be best played aggressively. But at the end of the day, being good at any high-damage output build is mostly about predicting how your opponent is going to react to your next moves, and reacting to that accordingly. I can't teach you how to predict people's next move, that's just something you learn with practice. What I can teach you is what to do once you've predicted their next move. Assuming we start off with an M1, which is usually what you'll want to start out with, there's a few ways your opponent can respond. The most obvious response is to block, but of course the most obvious response is almost always the worst. If you believe they'll block after an M1 or 2, you'll have to go for a block break, surprise surprise, of a jawbreaker. I mentioned Haymaker being an option as well, but you're going to want to save it for extreme situations. Using it as soon as it's off cooldown is usually not a good idea given how powerful it can be when used otherwise. Then there's the fact that Jawbreaker, more often than not after the rework, is usually on cooldown. In that scenario, I'd hope you have any other block breaking moves like Pocket Revolver, but if you don't, you have a couple other less than ideal options. Of course, you can hit them with the classic double right click or stand barrage finisher. This has a 50-50 chance of tricking your average Joe. With more skilled players, you'll never want to risk it. They'll always just parry you. Then there's, again, using your Haymaker, which I would say to use only if you know your opponent is going to die from your next combo. That's if they're about 33% health or less, because let's be real, block breaking combos just do that much. A good thing to know, after some testing, I've conclusively found that breaking somebody's block gives you about 4 seconds to do whatever the fuck you want with them. When this happens, and you're going to want to make this happen as much as you can, you'll want to go for a maximum damage combo. Doesn't matter if it stuns them, all that matters is the damage per second that you're outputting. Something like medium damage quick move, like chop knives, liver shot, you get the picture, 3 M1s, medium damage quick move number 2, and then they'll start to move again. From there you can extend with more M1s and combo extending moves, or you can finish the combo with a high damage medium speed move, say Jawbreaker, Haymaker, Uppercut to the Moon, Reality Overriding Punch, really just about anything will do. Again, boxing is versatile as hell. It melds and intertwines with just about any other moveset in the game and enhances it. There are other ways an opponent can respond to an M1 though besides blocking. The next most obvious will be to block for just long enough to dash out and run the fuck away. Range moves are good for this scenario, throw knives, etc., but if you want to go hard boxing, well, you've literally got the most mobile spec in the game, don't you? If they dash out of your knuckle sandwich, turn your camera towards them and shuffle to them. You might land some hits on them. If you don't, you can always pull some other bullshit combos out of your ass now that you've got them right where you want them. Besides dashing away, if they're smart or like you, they might already be M1ing you back. In that case, it's probably better that you go on the defensive for a second, block them, do a shuffle, dash or time skip out of there, and come back when you're at the advantage. Or simply, block them and punish them back once they're coping with the end lag from whatever move you just blocked from them. With builds like these, it's always good to stay aggressive, so the latter might be your best bet there. And then there's the barrage cancelers. If you initiate a combo and they start barraging back, they're expecting you to barrage clash them so they can throw out a barrage finisher, cancel your barrage, and flawlessly escape. Of course, small issue, barrage finisher, while it does have hyper armor, is the easiest to parry move in the entire game. You might not catch them the first or second times, but by the third time you should be able to get a parry on them and get the same block break combo that I described before, except with a parry. Some goobers take it to the next level and realize that you're gearing up to parry their barrage finisher, which gives them the opportunity to run away without even canceling your barrage in the first place, because, you know, you weren't going to barrage anyways. In these cases, they usually realize they're vulnerable and that their barrage is now on cooldown and you can punish them for that, so they'll start to run, which means that if you can catch up to them fast enough, you can just barrage them and punch them off of that. Just keep in mind, barrage has a cooldown, but it's not very long. This can lead to them barrage punishing you in the middle of your barrage punish combo, which leads into a bunch of barrage punishception tomfuckery if neither of you are careful enough, so beware. The final counter to high damage boxing M1 combos are, well, counters. Gravitational negation, epitaph, nullification 0, they're all counters that'll fucking decimate you if you fall for them. And they're basically a hard counter to the aggressive playstyle that lends on from playing a high damage boxing build. Of course, you'll only encounter them so often, but get countered by the right player and they can seriously fuck you up. Hard. The best thing to do is know which stands have counters and watch closely for them to use it. Usually they'll use it just after you start a combo, so just try baiting them with that. Hit them with a spare M1, get them with a knuckle sandwich, or toss out some knives at close range. Hopefully they'll waste their counter, and by then you can carry on with your regularly scheduled programming of beating them the fuck up. And those are about all the options an opponent has against you if using a high damage boxing build, besides just sit there like an idiot and take your combo because they're a YBA player. What did you expect? If you're not using a high destructive power stand like this, your boxing playstyle kinda just melds into the playstyle of the stand you're playing. If you're playing Cream, for example, you're not gonna rush in with M1s and get yourself fucking killed. It'd be a lot better if you went Void Surprise into some sort of boxing combo like liver shot into knuckle sandwich and then shuffle the fuck out of there before you get yourself roasted into ashes. Same thing with Six Pistols. If you go in there rooting, tooting, and shooting, you'll just get barraged and fucking die. But again, boxing is versatile. No matter what stand you're using, it'll go well with that playstyle. You'll just have to figure out for yourself what that playstyle really is, because I sure as hell am not detailing every single boxing build in one video. Boxing, being a spec, is pretty damn easy to counter alone. Simply block, parry, dodge. Knuckle sandwich is blockable, liver shot is blockable, hell, even jawbreaker is parryable now. Oh, wait! So when you're facing against a boxing player, obviously it's going to depend on what stand they're using if you want to use some actual counterplay. But in general, you're going to want to match their aggression. If they try to initiate a combo, as I've told you, they're going to win if you just sit there passively. They have the means to break your block, they have the means to catch up to you if you try and run, they'll fucking destroy you if you just sit there patiently, have a spot of tea, and twiddle your thumbs as you respectfully wait for them to finish their combo before you get a chance at coming back at them. What you need to do, simply put, is catch them off guard. See what they're predicting that you'll do, and think ahead of them. If they block break a lot, run away. If they stun a lot, block. If you can play aggressive, always do. When there's two aggressive builds pitted against each other, it is always about who can be the better aggressor, who can put out more damage than the other while minimizing the damage they take to themselves. Utilize your counters, if any, they'll help you a shit ton against most boxing players who will stop at nothing to continue beating you the fuck up. Otherwise, for less aggressive stands, staying out of their range is usually a good option. If they don't have projectiles, and you do, your best bet is to stay away and just spam those. Oh, and if you're about to die to Haymaker, that's a pretty simple guaranteed counter to make sure you won't get hit. That, of course, being Alt F4. Ever since they removed the damage buff and the AoE vaporization freezing on Vampirism, boxing has reigned as the unlikely yet uncontested top dog of the YBA spec game for 2 years. This update marked the first change to boxing in those 2 whole years of metamancing, and still hands down the best spec in the game. And though that may sound really depressing at first, there's a hidden layer of balancing that you aren't getting from comparing the two and saying they're about the same strength-wise. Because now, Boxing is fun. It's no longer two bare bones moves and a passive that carries the whole fucking thing like a fucking crane. They've fleshed out the skeleton that it once was, and yet they've somehow still managed to keep it the same balance-wise. Is that good? Is that bad? As a boxing main my entire YBA career, I couldn't say for sure. What I can say for sure is that with the 2 reworks under our belt and 2 more new movesets to go, the future of YBA is looking brighter than ever before. On the anniversary of my first ever video milking a YBA update, 1 whole year ago, when I said, and somehow, after all this, I'm hopeful for the future of YBA and what it holds for us, maybe because if I'm wrong, we're entirely fucked. After 1 year of a fucking roller coaster of update drowned into update paradise and back again into darkness, I can say YBA is looking better than ever before. As for whether Uzu will continue this streak, nobody, and I mean nobody, could say for sure. Only time will tell. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe, join the Discord, blah 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 blah. And I'll see you all next time. Sayonara.